Hi, I'm Chris Paulen with Freedom, Indiana. That video still gives me chills every time I see it. That's what citizens can do when we have our voices heard at the State House. Stopping HJR 3, the marriage amendment, was critical to turning the tide in Indiana, and Carol Trexler was an integral part of that. Then we pushed forward, and same-sex marriage became legal in Indiana on June 25, 2014. A number of us, including my partner of 20 years and I, were finally able to legally marry on that day. And I'm so happy that Carol lived to see that huge change come to Indiana. All of those milestones were important for equal rights in Indiana. However, do you know that a couple could still legally marry on Saturday and be fired for being married when they report to work on Monday? That's because it's still legal to fire someone or deny them housing or refuse service to anyone in the LGBT community. Don't feel bad if you don't know that. 74% of Hoosiers think it's already illegal to treat LGBT people as less than. In Indiana, it is not. This is a fight before us now, and I would argue it's more important than marriage. The basic needs of housing, employment, and dignity should not be denied to anyone for who they are or whom they love. Because we deny these protections to the LGBT community, we are seen and feel as less than. And this includes our very vulnerable LGBT youth. Some facts. Nearly half of transgender youth have seriously thought about taking their lives, and a quarter report making a serious attempt. That's because they're seen as less than in Indiana. Indiana Youth Group, the top LGBT youth center of Indiana, and one of the top in the nation, had 671 youth come through their doors last year. Statistically, that means about 167 of them thought about suicide, and 83 of them seriously attempted suicide. 83 of our youth in one center, in one town in Indianapolis, have seriously tried to kill themselves. Think about that. Because they are seen as less than. Indiana ranks number 2 in the country for the highest number of youth suicides, according to a report done by the Indiana Youth Institute. Number 2 in the country. I could think of a lot worse places to live, I would think, but we're known as number 2 in youth suicide. National research shows that LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight peers, and that number climbs even higher if they come from a rejecting family or household. So imagine the reality of being an LGBTQ youth in Indiana. Imagine being an LGBTQ youth in Indiana with a family that does not affirm your existence. That's where we come in, the community at large. Research shows that if LGBT youth have even one safe adult in their life, it can make all the difference in the world. It can be the difference between that youth staying in this world or leaving it. We have that power. We have that responsibility. We hold the hope for those youth. Another vulnerable group in our population is the transgender population. Some more statistics. 41% of adult trans people attempt suicide. That's nearly 26% higher than the national average. Trans people are 4 times more likely to live in extreme poverty. That's an income less than $10,000 a year for a household. 78% of trans students attending K-12 school report harassment. Levels of harassment that are so bad that a whopping 15% of those students will drop out of school before graduating. Trans people are twice as likely to be unemployed as compared with the national average. For trans people of color, that increases to a factor of 4 times more likely. 26% of trans people have lost a job due to being transgender or gender nonconforming. That is legal in Indiana. That is wrong. 19% of trans people have experienced homelessness. Shelters will not let trans people in. These people are on the street and have no other alternative. So what can you do to help? You can advocate for statewide non-discrimination laws. Meet with your state lawmakers. Let them know that you don't think this is all right, that you support non-discrimination for everyone. Help pass human rights ordinances when they're brought up in your community, or bring them to your city council. Steve was integral in helping pass the Carmel HRO. He also has a blog that is on the church website that says how to do it. Thanks for doing that, Steve. There have been 233,000 Hoosiers covered by an HRO since the last non-discrimination bill died in the Senate in February. 233,000 Hoosiers, almost 250,000 people. Still, that's only 34% of Hoosiers are protected. We have a number of local communities that will be discussing them soon. Reach out to your city councilors. Let them know that you want to get involved, that these need to pass. If you don't live in Carmel, Zionsville, or Indianapolis, citizens in your city are not covered. Support groups such as IYG that support our youth. They have a suicide prevention gala coming up on June 18th. Get involved. Learn about what you can do. But most importantly, talk to your friends, your family, and your coworkers about the issue. Education and discussion are key to making change happen, and change needs to happen in Indiana. Thank you.